Hey, how's it going? Spal here, and today I'm going to be giving you some pointers, some tips and tricks, the tools of the trade, if you will, to this frustration that is the arcade minigame trauma drama in Cyberpunk 2077. So without further yapping, let's just jump right into it. And as I go along, I'll just break the video up in sections, that way it'll be easier to follow along if you want to come back to it later. So tip number one is going to be patience and repetition. It's going to be the most time-consuming part of your runs because you literally just have to take your time when you're going through your first levels or run. And don't make it about trying to fly through as fast as possible. You know, you just want to clear enemies at your own pace, and when you're ready for more, move forward. And if you mess up and lose all your lives, don't be afraid to start over. Me personally, I'd rather restart a run I've died a bunch on and remember what I did wrong and hopefully improve in the next. Also, it'll just give you a sense of how the enemies spawn in and the timing of your shots. Like, some enemies, when they first run in, you have a very short amount of time before they take their positions, and you can take them out before they even get a shot off. You know, that's excluding the ones that exclusively bum rush you. And at tip number two, we got don't die. You know, this probably could have been fitted at the number one spot, but I thought the patience and repetition thing was good to get out of the way the first time. So this is pretty this is pretty self-explanatory, but when you die, you do lose a good chunk of your points, about 10,000 to be exact. So it's important to not deplete all your lives more than 3 times during a run, or your score will be just short of the goal by the end. And if you decide to just stick to it and dedicate the rest of the run to a practice one, no one's stopping you either. Again, repetition is going to be your best friend when trying to do this fucking arcade game. So, tip number 3 is going to be upgrading weapons and level changing. When you go through the stages, there will be NPCs you can save, and upon the AV descending back into the nether, will drop you a random weapon. And if you happen to save another citizen, sometimes you'll be dropped the same weapon, which will upgrade the weapon you're currently using. So for instance, if you upgrade the shotgun, you'll get more of a pellet spread. If you upgrade your base gun, you'll get ricochet shots. The laser will just fire a continuous beam, and the LMG will get an explosive pellet thrown into its fire pattern. You know, it's just upgrading the weapon that you best play with and that best suits the situation you're dealing with. Me personally, I like the LMG and the shotgun for the levels when you're just stuck on the one platform and you're continuously fighting off waves and they're just dropping from helicopters, and I just find those two options the best when it comes to crowd control. That one, and I throw in the laser too, if you want to get into it. Also, just practice changing platform levels. Like for instance, if you need to make a quick drop down to escape, it's a lot easier to shoot above you than it is to shoot below you in this mode. And also there's this little trick I do where I jump and I fire in the direction that the enemy is. Like if he's on like a higher platform, I won't jump on that platform. I'll just jump, shoot, so the bullets or the pellets, whatever, go towards the direction the enemy's in, takes them out before I even get there. And I'm just limiting my chances of losing a life basically. And now we're on to the first boss tips. So for this guy, he's the one that's just gonna, got the sword. He's gonna make these little slashes at you. What you want to do to avoid those, what I find is the easiest to do, is to run from them and then jump over them. And I don't know, I find like that gives you a little bit of extra like movement, or it's a little more forgiving anyway. And generally, just try and figure out his timing when he's gonna come back onto the screen. And just make sure you're upgrading your weapons, you're getting the power-ups when they come by you, and it's going to be the bosses, I think, that are going to be the hardest thing once you master the levels, because you only get to fight the bosses once in your runs, but you get to go through like waves of goons, no problem. So like generally, just, pick a side of the screen and, just practice firing from there. If it's easier for you to crouch and shoot them, I recommend doing that. But if you can just pick aside the screen and just wait for him to come back around, light him up, and he jump again, and run and jump, and then that's the first boss. And now we're on tips for the second boss. So for this guy, it's going to be the Pacifica stage, and he's the one that carries the metal construction beam, I think it is. Yeah, metal construction beam. He's going to slam the ground. He's going to cause debris to come fall down and try and get you. So for this guy, you just want to stay away from him. It's going to be pretty much, a couple of the same tips from the first boss. Upgrade your weapons. Don't lose your lives. Grab the power-ups if you can get them when they're available. Try not to trap yourself in a corner either. When he does this slam attack, it's very easy to avoid him because he's going to, jump once, jump again. Oh, never mind. Yeah, apparently he just decides to slam the ground. But again, look how much room I don't have when I'm in this little corner. I got very lucky on this run though, because I upgraded the base gun and it's giving me the ricochet shots. So it's very easy to take out the explosives he's throwing. So look right here, I corner myself. And this is what you don't want to do because you're losing life. You got nowhere to go. So I just decided to go through him and, hopefully that does something. And yeah, again, just try to avoid when he starts throwing those. Get some distance. Don't jump into it like I just did there. But get some distance. Try to jump under them if you can. But generally, this guy is pretty easy. If you can, manage to get where the debris is falling down, you can get a few more shots off on him as he's slamming the ground, and that'll make the boss fight go by even faster. And if you want, once you get the timing down of his jumps, you can just bait him into standing into one place, basically. Where you just did what I did there, where you just jump in one, make sure he jumps, and then you just go right under him as soon as he jumps again. And again, the falling debris is probably going to be the thing that takes you out the most. So just try and manage the space you got in between there when it's falling down. But other than that, this guy, he's just getting the timing down of his jumps and the slams, and I'm giving myself a very tiny window to escape, so kind of not good when you're running on one life, but it doesn't matter because he's gone, and I didn't die a single time during that exchange. And that's basically what you want when you're going through the boss stages, is that you want to be able to go through them and not die a single time. And now we're on tips for the third boss, which is just the tank. This one's pretty easy. I don't think you'll die unless you're being really reckless. All you gotta do is basically stand on the edge of this platform and shoot at the tank whenever he rolls by with those orbs, these things right here. So yeah, good way to avoid these is to go forward a little bit and then just to, try and juke them. Break their ankles as best as you can. Make them look stupid. Yeah, then he's gonna fire these missiles. I did get hit once by them when standing up, so it's best just to crouch once they come by you. Otherwise, just best not to risk it. I've only got 2 lives because his goons kept coming out and shooting me, and I totally forgot. But yeah, this guy is pretty easy. Once you whittle him down enough, he'll do those orb attacks more often, which will allow you to get more shots in. But yeah, so basically, pretty much a little bit of recycled tips. Upgrade your weapons, get the health packs and power-ups when they become available and when it's safe to do so. And that'll be pretty much about it for the tips and tricks. I hope this helped. They made this game mode unnecessarily hard just by taking out the expletive bug where I think it was stage 3 of the first couple levels where they would just drop down out of a helicopter and you could just continuously farm points like that and then just go through the levels, I guess, and try not to die as much. But yeah, they made it necessarily hard anyway, and I don't know why they did that. It's a single player game, come on guys, it's not online, it's not affecting. So yeah, that's pretty much about it from me. So I just want to say here at the end of the video, if you stuck around, I appreciate you, and hopefully this helps you, or if you know someone that's struggling with this challenge, maybe send them this video, or get them to come check it out. Maybe it'll help them. And I also want to add in, if you're having a bad day, I sincerely hope that you can turn it around and make it a great one. Yeah, that's about it for me. Thank you guys for your time. I'll see you later.